Hello. Isabella just woke up from a nap as I was about to film this video, so she's joining me for this baby names I love but won't be using video. And let's hope that she'll be a good girl because she should be rested enough. And what is going on here with my fishtail plait? Oh dear. This is what happens when mums with young babies try to be trendy and do a plait and not just a regular mum bun or a top knot. You do a fishtail plait and it ends all wrong. I've put off doing this video for a really long time because, do you know what? I can't guarantee that I won't use one of these names. They are some of my favorite names, and for whatever reason, either because my husband doesn't like them or because we have people in the family with these names, we decided not to use them for this little girl when she came along. And I don't know if we're going to have any more children, who knows, and if we do, we might end up using one of these names. I did keep out the top 5, sort of like the 5 names that are always on our list. I've got 15 girls' names to share with you. I'm gonna try and put her down, see if she'll go down nicely on her mat. So if you'd like to see a boy version of this video, leave a comment below. And if you're not subscribed already, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my future videos. So these names are not in any particular order. I just have my Pregnancy Plus app on my phone, which is where I used to keep a list of names that I liked when I was pregnant with Isabella. And I just added some more names onto the list for this video. So the first baby girl name that I love is GIOVANNA. And I love the way that it sounds. I love how it just rolls off your tongue really easily. Giovanna. You can say it easily in English, you can say it easily in Portuguese, because I am originally from Brazil, so I have relatives abroad who don't speak English, so I've got to think about that as well. So I think it's an Italian name. Even though it's not a traditional English name, it's still quite easy to spell, and I think it's quite an international name, so pretty easy to say in lots of languages, and that's why I love it. I like the way it sounds. I think it's a pretty name and it's easy for multicultural families. Next name that I love is Julia, and the reason why I won't be using that name is because we have someone in the family who has a very similar name and it would just be a bit too confusing. But I love the name Julia. I think it's a very calming name. It's still very sort of simple and easy to spell. You'll see a theme there. I like names that are easy to say, easy to spell, just basically names that don't make life harder for kids. I have a video on the reason why I like sort of traditional mainstream names, and all of these ones will be names in that same sort of category. So I think Julia is a beautiful name. It's very serene, very easygoing, and again, you can say it easily in Portuguese or in English. Third baby girl name I love is Diana, and that's a very traditional English name, but it's also associated with Princess Diana, and I think that's the reason why I wouldn't use that name, because it carries too much weight with it due to what happened to Princess Diana, and I wouldn't want a big tragedy associated with my baby's name. Even though it's a beautiful name, it's again easy in Portuguese and easy in English, I find it a little bit too heavy in terms of historical aspect, but I think it's such a unique sounding name, and yeah, very easy to spell as well. I just love how Diana sounds. The next name I love is Jasmine, and this is probably the most unusual name of the list, but it's still quite an easy name to spell and to say. And I think the reason why I wouldn't use it, it's quite a silly one, but it's because people look at me and they immediately think that I'm either Indian or somewhere in the Middle East, which is totally fine, but I'm not. I'm fully 100% Brazilian. And I think that if I had a daughter named Jasmine and she looked like me, she would spend the rest of her life kind of answering that question, or maybe more sort of denying, saying, no, I am not Indian, I am British, Brazilian, or whatever. And I'm trying to make my children's lives easier, and I know it's silly, but that is the reason probably why I wouldn't use the name Jasmine. It's so beautiful and feminine and elegant, and it would go really well with both my other children's names, James, Isabella and Jasmine. Although saying that, Jasmine does sound a lot like James, so it would be a bit confusing, but I do love the name Jasmine. The next baby name I love is Isadora, and that's a name that my mum told me that she loves. I think it's her favorite baby girl name other than the names that she gave me and my sister, and I just fell in love with it, and I think it is such a beautiful name. Isadora, I don't know, something about it. I like names that just roll off the tongue quite easily. But the reason why I wouldn't use this name is because my husband is not too keen. He doesn't like that it's a bit of an uncommon name. It's not by any means a unique name. It's not a different or unusual. It's just not common in this country, not in the UK. It's a lot more common in Brazil. And because our children are going to be brought up here, they're going to school here, we kind of wanted their names to be more in line with the traditional British names. And I know that that is totally personal preference, so if you don't think that way, please don't be offended. This is just how we think and how we like to call our children. The next name in my list is Hayley. And this is quite an unusual name for me because Hayley is not a traditional name. Right, so Isabella is just having a bottle down here because she was a bit fussy. But as I was saying, I think Hayley is a little bit too uncommon for my husband. He does like his traditional names. And although it is a mainstream name, it's still not as traditional as he would like. But I love the name Hayley. It's just pretty. It's really pretty, and I associate Hayley with a very pretty girl. The next name I love but won't be using is Isabelle, and the reason for that is because my daughter is actually called Isabella. So Isabelle and Isabella would be far too similar, although I do like the nickname Belle, and I think Isabelle is just beautiful and feminine and girly. I think all the things I love about Isabella, I like about Isabelle, and I like the fact that it's not too long. So I love Isabelle, but it would be far too similar to Isabella. And the next name on my list is Anna. I love how Anna sounds. I love how it looks. I like that it's a short name, and we have a 3-syllable surname, and I think a small first name like Anna would go really well with our surname. And yeah, just love it. The reason why we wouldn't use it is because, again, we have someone in the family whose name is very similar, and I also have lots of friends called Anna in Brazil. It's a very popular first name, and people over there tend to kind of mix Anna with either Maria or with anything, basically. Anna tends to be a very, very popular first name. Another name I love but I won't be using is Amelia. Amelia is probably the most popular baby name currently. I'm not sure if that's true, but it's probably up there in the top 10. And I think Amelia is a very pretty, girly name, very easy to say in English, in Portuguese, easy to spell. I can't fault Amelia, but the reason why we wouldn't use it, it's because we have someone similar in the family. You can see that we have lots of names that I love already in the family, and that's why it was so difficult for us to choose Isabella's name, is because we had so many names that were already taken, and that some of them were our true favorites. So Amelia is one of those names that if there wasn't anyone in my family with a name so similar to it, we would definitely go for Amelia. Next name is Ella, and again, I like that it's short, I like that it's sweet and cute, and it's very sort of easy to say, easy to spell. But because we have an Isabella, having an Ella would be very confusing, so I don't think we could get away with an Isabella and an Ella. The next name is a name very common in Brazil, and it is Luisa, which I think is the Brazilian version of Louise, and I love that spelling, L-U-I-Z-A. I think it's very cute, very sweet, and the reason why I wouldn't use it is because I think people would misspell it a lot here in the UK, and she would spend her whole life telling people that it's not L-O-U-I-S-A, it's L-U-I-Z-A. So I don't think I would be using that name, but it's a name that I truly, truly love. Next name on my list is one that I might one day use. I don't know. I was so on the fence about this one, about including this one on the video, and the name is Helena. And I love Helena. I think it's traditional, it's pretty, it's feminine, it's strong, but my husband is not too keen on it. I think he thinks about Helena Bonham Carter, and I don't know, I might one day be able to convince him. I do really like the name. There are names that I prefer to Helena, but it's one of the names that I love. Another baby girl name I love is Marianna, and Marianna is a very, very common name in Brazil, and over there we say it Marianna, but I think over here people would say it Marianna. And I have a cousin called Marianna, and I love the name. Again, I have family already owning that name, so I don't think I would use the name Marianna, but I think it's very, very pretty, although it's quite a long name, and I think Isabella is already quite a long name, so it would be James, Isabella, Marianna. It would be kind of a mouthful to call 3 children like that if we were to have a 3rd child. The next name is Alicia, and not Alicia but Alicia, and that's how I like it. I think it's a good alternative to Alice. It's feminine, pretty, girly, it's quite mainstream, it's easy to say, easy to spell, but because I would want it to be Alicia, I think a lot of people would misspell it here in the UK. It's another popular name in Brazil, and I think that that's the only thing stopping me from using that name. So yeah, I do love Alicia, but I have my reservations in terms of spelling here in the UK. And the last name I love but won't be using is Caroline. And Caroline is actually my sister's middle name, but we call it Caroline in Brazil, but in the UK you'd call it Caroline. And that's probably the only reason why I wouldn't use this name, because my sister is Caroline. But I love it. I love everything about it. I love the way that the R and the L go together, and I love that it's traditional here in the UK and also in Brazil. Easy to spell, easy to say, and kind of an international name. And yeah, I just love the name Caroline, but my sister has already taken it. So that is it. These are my 15 baby girl names that I love, but probably won't be using. And I would love to know, what are your children's names? What names do you have in the family? Do you go for traditional? Do you go for more unique names? I would love to know, so leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your pregnant friends for inspiration, and make sure you subscribe if you're new to my channel. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!